This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, Zack Snyder shares a dubious photo of Henry Cavill as Black Suit Superman. Kumail Nanjiani gets jacked for the Eternals movie, and we give you a full spoiler review of Season 1 of Watchmen on HBO.
Geek Boner!
All that and more in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Wednesday, December 18th, 2019.
Hi, this is Gilbert Gottfried, and you're listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Why? I don't know.
Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up.
Hey, this is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. Welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast with your hosts, Anthony.
I'm cooking a pot roast in my pants.
Imran.
What the shit is this?
And Rug Boy.
Put a bullet in me, Imran.
Comic book and superhero, TV and movie news, reviews.
It's really bad. It's actually pretty bad.
It's so fucking bad. It's dog shit on a hot day.
I love this movie so much.
Come on, Imran.
I think he'll surprise us.
Yeah.
And whatever they choose.
Let him see your small dick. We all know it's not big.
Fuck off.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast. Remember, Batman's got your back.
Hey, listener. What's up? Welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
And that little felty, fuzzy fuck over there, the smartest puppet on Earth, known as Rugmandius.
That's not really a big compliment.
No?
Yeah.
How smart are puppets? Otherwise known as Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs? I think you're the smartest puppet on the internet, at least.
Probably. I don't know. I'm probably not even the smartest puppet on the internet. This is all false bravado that you're giving me.
I challenge you to find me a smarter internet puppet than Rug Boy. I think our listeners...
I think I'm the smartest puppet that has 6 teeth.
Okay, we'll give you that.
Yeah.
It's a very specific Guinness record.
Yeah.
Smartest puppet with
I'll
6
go with
teeth.
that.
Yes. If you lose a tooth or get a new one, the record might be shook a little.
And
But-
I've never given myself to a woman.
Oh my God, the smartest virgin puppet with 6 teeth.
Lame.
Is that's
That's a pull from the show.
That-
If you watch Watchmen, you know what I'm talking about.
and I'm sure the listener has watched Watchmen because we are going to review season 1 this episode. But before we do, Anthony,
Yes.
we got to shout out our awesome sponsor for the month of December here on the Jock and Nerd podcast. And it's a sponsor you know well from personal experience, isn't it?
This is true. So back in the day when I used to trim my nether regions.
Were you a swimmer?
No, not at all.
Okay.
But back in the day I used to, or, before I had this product, I used to use scissors or razors sometimes.
Sounds dangerous.
Scissors especially. And number one, it's not very sanitary. And number two, it's not very. Sometimes there's nicks, and you don't want to get nicked down there because it get infected. It's uncomfortable. It hurts more. Can't really put a Band-Aid on your dick because what happens if someone sees that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just strange, right? So along came this product that I saw online called Manscaped, and before we were even sponsored, I decided I was going to get this product because it can trim your balls without nicking anything down there. And it's very sanitary as well. They include a little brush so you can trim off the little hair follicles that are stuck on the razor. And then they also include razors that can come in every 3 months. So when the razor runs out, if you get on the subscription plan, you can get a razor every 3 months. So that's awesome. There's a bunch of other products like cologne and deodorant. And I'm currently wearing the Manscaped boxers right now. Actually, I like wearing them. They're very comfortable.
Nice.
They got a nice, stretchy feel. It's also nice. It's 2 functions too for me. Number 1, 3 actually, comfort and boxer briefs.
Yeah.
Number 2, if something were to happen where these were exposed, people could see that my downstairs is cleaned up because it says Manscaped on the label.
Like maybe if you were weighing into an MMA fight.
Right. They would be like, oh, he's got trim pubes.
He's trimmed.
And number 3, it's nice to wear them because if someone does see them, I also go, hey, I'm sponsored by them. And I can throw in this thing where I go, if you go to manscaped.com, you get 20% off and free shipping with the code Big Heads, which is the all in caps. As Ruggs likes to say, I don't know why it's all in caps, but it is. Big Heads at manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping off of any product you choose on there. I personally recommend the Lawnmower 2.0 and the whole fucking package that it's called. I forget what it's called. Whatever it is. Get the whole package, the lawnmower, the deodorant, and the boxer briefs, and whatever the hell else you want to trim your pubes.
Your balls will thank you, listener.
So will the ladies or the men that are down there.
That's right. It is a great holiday gift. And Anthony, you're like a walking NASCAR car with the sponsored logos on you.
I was in San Diego and I was wearing them.
Yeah.
I was changing and I, for a brief second, had just my boxer briefs on, and one of my buddies saw me and I was like, yep, sponsored by them. Now we get the product.
Right. That is amazing.
Terrific.
We were wearing sponsors of our product. I never thought this would happen while making this podcast.
Clothed by sponsors. Not only do they sell shaving gear, but they sell clothing.
Manscaped.com, listener. All the info is in the show notes for this episode. Buy it for the holidays. You won't be sorry. Let's get to some geek news, fellas.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
I only got like 2 things for the news this week because I really want to get to Watchmen. There's a lot to discuss there. But we've talked in the past about Zack Snyder and how hashtag release the Snyder Cut suddenly was trending, and he's been posting shit on Vero from scenes from the movie that didn't make it and other things. And there's a picture he posted. There's a little bit of a debate, a little bit of controversy on this picture, and I want to dive right into this controversy. The photo he posts is allegedly of Henry Cavill in the black suit Superman, during the making of this movie, claiming there was going to be a black suit. It was seen on a dummy. And Zack Snyder's just trying to show that we did this. We put it on there. And if you check the internet, there's a little bit of shenanigans. I'm going to just preface this by saying I use Adobe Photoshop in my day-to-day job. I've been using it for about 15 years, probably over 15 years every day. Like, it's the main thing. I live in this fucking program. And to me, I don't know if Zack Snyder thinks people are dummies, but this photo is absolutely clearly photoshopped.
What?
I'm not buying this for 1 second. There's a couple of things I can point out, and there's one very obvious detail. But before I do that, what do you guys think of this photo and the fact that he continues to like troll people with his Justice League version that's probably never going to get released?
I do think that he was going to have the black suited Superman in his film.
Okay.
I still don't necessarily believe there's a completed Snyder cut that's completed with all the editing and all the the CGI and all that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, if he drums up enough interest, maybe he's just thinking he can pressure WB into doing something. I just think it's not going to happen.
I'll have a link to this photo in our show notes for the listener. Anthony, as a layman looking at this, does anything look out of fishy to you from this photo?
I'm not a photo expert. I mean, I could be sold on it. It does look like his head is just photoshopped onto that body, though.
Yeah, there's a couple of funky things. Ruggs, what can you point out in this photo that maybe hints at that this is a fucking fake Photoshop photo?
I mean, all of the seams are very clean. That's number one. And that's what you get in Photoshop. There's also that haloing on that right side.
Yes, there's kind of a soft frilly edge.
Yeah, it looks like it's a defringe or something.
So this is also similar to another promo shot of Henry Cavill in the full color suit. Also, look at the lighting on his face. On the right side of his face is completely in shadow. That does not continue down onto the suit at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So my thought is somebody just took the colored photo and just desaturated, removed all the covers, made kind of a shitty mask. It's really easy to do in Photoshop now. Honestly, the new version, anybody can do this. But the biggest evidence to this is if you look under his right arm, the arm that's in the background, where it meets the body, you see that fucking white dot there?
Yeah.
That is a Photoshop brush dot that they accidentally probably put in there and forgot to take out. This is, do you think we're stupid, Zack Snyder? This is completely fake. You never had the motherfucker in this suit, in this pose. That's all I'm saying. And there's a whole subreddit out there that agrees with me. So I don't know.
It does look fishy. It looks like a Photoshop job. But you never know. Like some of these photos, they retouch and then it starts to look fake anyway. So
I mean,
who knows?
Yeah,
it looks like it's bullshit.
I just think it's funny that he's continued to keep pushing this stuff out there. I want to say shout out to Trevon Brady, who follows us on Twitter, and he's been sending me screenshots from Zack Snyder's Vero account, which is where he's posting all this. There's another one where there's a shot of film canisters, and on it there's a label that says JL Zack Snyder, whatever, and on top it reads, "Is it real? Does it exist?" Of course it does. Well, that's great, but how do we know what the fuck is in those film canisters? There could be another whole movie. They could be empty. This is what I'm talking about. I don't understand the end game of this. I don't think Warner Brothers is even interested in this.
I don't know. I mean, what would you do if you were Zack Snyder? Like, you shot a movie.
Yeah.
They replaced you and everybody in it, and then
kind of butchered it.
Yeah, and now, like, that movie stinks, and your movie probably stinks too, but at least it's your movie that you made, and people get to see your movie.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I can kind of see what he's doing. His name was dragged through the mud a lot through by WB and DC.
Yeah.
I still think he was awful, and I think he probably, as Rugg said, I think he probably made a shitty movie, but this one wasn't his. So
and he can't.
he can drum up as much interest as he wants because
like he's never going to get a chance to work with these characters again.
Yeah,
he's done.
Yeah.
So like that's his vision of and he wants it out there. And so I don't think it's wrong, especially now that there's like a support system for it, and there's geeks that want to see it, and he knows that there's like, even if it's like 2,000 people that are clamoring for it and constantly posting about it, at least it's somebody. Like, it's not like nobody. I mean, it's something. Every time I go on Twitter, I see it every single time.
Yeah, it's still going. So in a sense, it's smart for him to control the narrative. And, you know, if it was his movie, at least he could own that it was fucking shitty, but he can't even own the movie that came out. Because,
well, that's what I'm saying. He's never going to get a chance to make it.
So I can see how it would sting.
And it does probably bother him a lot because he probably couldn't work on it because of all the shit that was going on in his life at the moment. I mean, there's terrible things happening.
Yeah. It was, a crazy backstory I need a documentary about that.
Right. And then you got some the cast members saying that they saw it and they liked it. So, I don't know. It exists. I think that enough of it exists that if they could convince Warner Brothers to kick in some money to finish the effects, they could put it out.
Or somebody just start a Kickstarter, or just get funded yourself. Somebody start a GoFundMe for Zack Snyder.
That's a big Kickstarter.
Now you would need millions of dollars probably.
No, you don't need that many. No? You just need effects. No.
So what? A couple $100,000?
I would say you need about like $4 million.
$4 million. Oh shit! That is a huge Kickstarter. But for this movie, he could probably raise that. I just thought this obviously Photoshop
because
fucking picture.
To do the mustache, it would have cost them $10 million.
Way too much. Not enough because they did not fully. They needed more time, I guess, and that would have cost more money. But yeah, that's a good point. The mustache was $10 million. How much to redo the fucking movie?
Was the mustache?
I don't know. I don't know. I am interested to see a zombie movie on Netflix. You know, maybe this is where he can redeem himself and have something new people can talk about and stuff. And I think a lot of people are going back and watching the Watchmen movie now that the series is out. People have never seen it.
And the Watchmen movie is actually not too bad. So, I mean, like, it's one of his better movies.
Well, he had a full fucking storyboarded thing ready for him that he had to shoot. So, you know.
Yeah.
He works better that way.
And he actually changed it in a way that still was faithful to the comic book in a lot of ways. And his take on it was unique.
I still don't like his ending, though. I don't agree with that ending. Sorry. Was unique.
You don't agree with it.
No.
But I think in some ways it makes more sense.
Oh, we're going to fight about Watchmen. Oh, I can't wait. Listener, we want to know what you think about Henry Cavill in the black suit. We want to know what you think about the Watchmen show. But most importantly, we want to know what you think about this very show, the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Take a quick listener survey, and it will help us improve, evolve the show. Just visit jockandnerd.com/survey. It can be anonymous. You can be completely honest and brutal. We've got a couple of responses Appreciate the honesty.
They're honest and brutal.
They're honest and brutal. That's exactly what we need. I do also want constructive criticism, but you could just bash us too. I think it'll be hilarious. But this is for you to help us make the show better for you. That's all. jockandnerd.com/survey. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about in our news section is, have you seen Kumail Nanjiani?
Oh, shit.
I did.
Holy shit. He's starring in Marvel's Eternals, and he is fucking jacked.
He's huge. Yeah, one of my my movie chat, one of my buddies sent me that on Instagram. I'm like, what the hell?
And
he's definitely gone on the Marvel abs diet for sure.
Whatever this Marvel diet is, get me on it. I know it costs a lot of money and a lot of resources. And to his credit, with a really honest Instagram post kind of saying exactly that. Like, he could have never done this without all the paid nutritionists and trainers from Marvel. And he understands why he never did it before.
Job to get in that shape.
Ruggs, what did you get from his heartfelt caption there on Instagram?
I felt like that it was nice to hear the honesty.
Yep.
This kind of thing can't really be achieved without, this kind of change. Without dedicating your entire life to it and having a lot of help and having a lot of, it's just not something that people can attain easily if they're not used to doing it. It's not their way of life. Like, some guys can already have the genetics pre-built in.
Body type is important.
Yeah. They can work out, but like, if you're like, Kumail was like a regular dude, a kind of a doughy.
Yeah.
Turkey titted dude.
I mean, this
turkey titted. I haven't heard of that.
Turkey tit. Oh, that describes
turkey tit.
That describes my man boobs very accurately.
Yeah, it's like you got moobs.
I got nipples. Can you milk me, Greg? This almost talking about Photoshop. It almost looked like he photoshopped his head on a fucking bodybuilder. I cannot believe he got himself into this shape. In this picture, Anthony, somebody mentioned that the way his veins are popping or the way he's cut seems to indicate he's maybe dehydrated in this moment. Maybe?
I mean, a lot of bodybuilders do dehydrate a little bit right before they jump on stage or take pictures.
It's like vascularity meets the thinness of your skin. So you have to get all the water out of your skin to kind of make it thinner, and then you have to do a million push-ups and get your veins all
pumping.
thick.
I mean, he's got veins popping on his biceps. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's I'm sure he did.
Then you got to coat yourself in fucking
oil?
baby oil. You have the hot lights on there to pick up the.
Yeah, he's got edge lighting and stuff.
You need all of those things in harmony to create that
look.
Physique that looks like out of a video game or something.
I'm sure he doctored himself up, not with CGI, but did some stuff to make himself look perfect for this picture.
In this photo shoot, yeah,
he looks good.
In the moment, he is just jacked. I wonder if he keeps this body afterwards. I don't know how sustainable it is. They put Chris Pratt through the Marvel regiment, and he's still jacked.
So Chris Hemsworth keeps it. Chris Evans, Chris Pratt, they all keep it.
Remember Hugh Jackman?
They hate it. Yeah, they bitch about it all the time.
Thor, Chris Hemsworth, he's naturally more of a lean guy, so he's always got to bulk up for the role.
Jackman said that's one of the reasons he hated playing Wolverine is that he had to starve himself.
Tough. Yeah. This is what happens. I'm gonna tell you a little bit of inside information.
Okay. Ooh.
A van rolls up.
Yeah.
And fucking
white windowless
dudes in lab coats come out with briefcases full of HGH.
Oh shit!
And they just start injecting.
You think there's some steroid use and some hormone use in this?
Yeah, but not even steroids. It's untraceable. It's like HGH. It's like this fucking genetic milkshake that they just fucking give you, and you just hulk out.
To get like that takes a lot of work.
So
it takes a lot of dieting, a lot of discipline, and a lot of work in the gym, and a lot of help. So it's tough. It's not easy to get like that.
He's been working on this for a year, he said. So this is a year of work and discipline into this. Another interesting conversation I saw that spread out of this on Twitter was he was getting there was a little bit of blowback because they're like,
oh, why?
Because people were like, Marvel ruined Chris Pratt and now they're going to ruin Kumail Nanjiani.
How?
This is what people were saying, that Chris Pratt used to be a lovable, funny, fat guy. He gets jacked. He was married to Anna Faris. He gets divorced from Anna Faris, kind of becomes a douche, and now literally Arnold Schwarzenegger is his father-in-law.
Oh, shit.
He marries into the Shriver Kennedy Schwarzenegger family, and very quickly after dumping Anna Faris. And they don't want that to happen to Kumail because everybody loves Kumail.
That is a fucking lot of dots to connect
Isn't it?
to getting in shape.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with getting in shape and being a little more healthy.
Look, if you are a pudgy guy and then you end up this way, I think it affects the way you
Hey, I do think
carry
that
yourself.
there has to be. There's a correlation with testosterone in your system,
And becoming a douchebag.
having a lot of that blood flow, having a lot of that primal, because that's all primal stuff.
Yeah.
You got to unlock a little bit of your beast
Yeah.
to get. You know this, Anthony.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just,
So it makes you more like you want to be more animalistic, and that's one of those things is that you're more likely to, I would say, at least entertain the thought of like, what do I have this body for? All right.
it's a tough stretch. It's not even a tough stretch. It is a huge stretch to be like, Marvel caused Chris Pratt to get a divorce.
Well, yeah. I just think that if you're a dude who's sloppy and all of a sudden you get fucking ripped and you're in the gym, you're going to be a little bit more of a, you're going to have to be a little more primal. And
Absolutely.
you might change as a person.
You will. I think you will. If you've always been a chubbier dude,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you've got, you were driving a Honda Civic and now you're driving around this Ferrari.
Yeah.
You're going to show it off for a little bit. It's going to change you for sure.
Yeah, you want to take it for a joyride.
Exactly.
Well, so like fans were worried about Kumail's marriage because I used to
Oh my
listen.
God.
Listen, I used to listen to Anna Faris's podcast, and Chris Pratt and Anna Faris sounded like the most fun in love couple. Now, obviously, because of Marvel, his fame skyrocketed way past hers. I don't know if that's part of the thing. Now with
my
Kumail, he's married to Emily Gordon, and if you've seen The Big Sick, they have a very special relationship. The movie is all about them meeting, and they're very, she writes a lot of his things, and they're out very public. But I just thought it was hilarious how people connected all those dots, and they're like,
people
don't
are
ruin
dumb.
Kumail.
That's so dumb.
I love Kumail. This is not,
The internet is a stupid place.
it is a stupid place. This is not sustainable, and I wouldn't be mad at
That's
him.
why I'm on it.
If after, you are the smartest thing on the internet. I wouldn't be mad at him if after the movie he lets himself go. It's, it's fine.
We
He's doing
should
it for-
start a side Patreon to get you to look like that.
Oh my God, please do.
Oh my God.
How much would that cost?
We were supposed to do a makeover.
Makeover, yeah.
We haven't hit the goal for the makeover, but if we get to a goal on Patreon, I will pay for a physical trainer
It would be a
for
lot.
1 month. It would be so much money.
1 month. You would need more than 1 month.
1 month, Imran.
I don't think there's
1 month
It
is
took
not.
Kumail a year.
It took him a fucking
and he
year.
was already skinny.
You would need at least 6 months to start seeing some good results, like a body change.
When I did see when I was doing like the paleo and CrossFit, and I saw my body change, it took like a couple of years, like slowly.
Yeah, I know,
If
but
you-
you if you had help with your diet too,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you could.
Might somebody
change-
fucking
If you
cooking for
change
me?
your complete life, you could do it in 4 months.
Not no. This is not happening.
4 months, 6 months at the most.
You would need surgery though.
I can get the Al Roker surgery, and he
What's
looks
that?
great. It's the lap band stomach surgery.
Well, I was saying you would need surgery after you lost all the weight for the excess skin.
Oh, the hanging skin?
yeah.
I could show a movie on this. Well, that'd be great.
Yeah, I knew a dude who was like really huge, and then he lost like all the weight and became one of those beach body dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he had the.
the surgery.
Well, no, he never got the surgery on him.
Oh.
He just had the extra stuff.
Yeah, I have a buddy too that like does CrossFit now, but was a fat kid.
Yeah.
and he's got like the skin hanging off his stomach. It looks strange.
Well, how? Because
he has abs, but then like there's skin hanging. off his stomach.
I wasn't that huge. I don't think
I
I
know,
would have
I'm
any
fucking
extra.
around with
You got to be really big to have that extra skin. Really dramatic, but good for Kumail and all his Marvel resources
I
from
just
Disney.
like that you think Imran's going to have that.
It can happen, listener. Let's start me a Kickstarter. I only need $4 million to get this movie done. Oh, wait, that was the other thing. All right, look, let's take a quick break for some promos before we geek out about HBO's Watchmen Season 1 right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is Venice, and I've got a message from a friend of mine about my favorite podcast.
It's your boy, Flavor Flav and Full Effect. Check this out, everybody. I want y'all to go check out TJ,
What's good, everybody? TJ Johnson here from Voice from the Underground. I am the most handsome.
Big Hass,
And I'm smoking my cigar, of course.
you know what I'm saying, and Josh.
You pick me up in an Uber and a PT Cruiser, I'm calling Lyft.
Cause they be fighting the power, talking about social issues, politics, you know what I'm saying?
And we're not even that good.
Right, we're terrible. Terrible. Tangents all over the place.
And not only that, but they be keeping it fun with the sports, music, comics, and movies too.
Am I allowed to talk?
I think no, not right now.
Shut up, colonizer!
You know what I'm saying? You on Twitter at VFU Podcast. Yo, you can find them. So check 1, 2. This is Flavor Flav. Yeah, boy.
Okay, what Flav was trying to say is check out Voice from the Underground on your favorite podcast network.
Voice from the Underground.
Transmission commencing.
This is Wookiee Radio. Translated for the Wookiee impaired. I like that Wookiee. Your hosts, Ken, Derek, and Mike, bring you the latest news and commentary from the far reaches of the galaxy.
Hold it. I said hold it.
Subscribe today on iTunes and Stitcher.
I just assumed he's a Wookiee.
Start listening today, and remember,
The Force will be with you, always.
Jock and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy the show, if you are a fan of the show, if you consider yourself a fan of the Jock and Nerd podcast, you must join our awesome fan club. Jock and Nerd! Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. There's multiple tiers to choose from. You're supporting the show. You get stickers, t-shirts. You got a chance to come on the show. You get a chance to pick a movie for us to review, and you get an exclusive RSS podcast feed with bonus content, early access. More show for your dough, early access to the shows. Bonus content you will find this week on our Patreon feed. Before we started recording, we were talking about our expectations of Rise of Skywalker and the Rotten Tomato score and the early reactions before seeing the movie. And since we will be reviewing the movie next week, not this week, giving you guys a week to see it and catch up, but join the Patreon and you could hear our discussion on the RT score. And then you will hear our instant reactions to the movie as soon as we walk out of the theater or shortly thereafter. Those will also be on Patreon. You guys, make sure you send those in. I'm looking at you, Rug Boy. You never send one in.
I don't like doing it.
God damn it. Do it.
I don't like doing it.
I'll do it if I remember to do it. I'll do it.
I will shave your balls if you like it or not if you don't do it.
I'll send you my balls. You can shave them.
Yeah, that's the great thing about your balls is you can detach them, send them to me. I'll trim them up, send them right back. No problem.
Yeah.
In the meantime, let's start joining our
we
fan
go a
club.
whole episode without talking about balls. But then we set the tone, though, with the ad.
My balls was hot.
That's what happens. Jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Join today. Let's get to Watchmen on HBO. Before I hit the spoiler button, I want to tell the listener, if you have not caught up on the show, please stop now. Check the show notes for this segment. Jump to the next segment. This is a show you must watch without it being spoiled. And we tried hard for the past 9 weeks when we did talk about the show to not spoil it because you need to go into this without any spoilers. It is an amazing experience. With that being said, we're going to spoil the fuck out of it right now.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
Because you cannot talk about the show without spoiling it. Based on the classic, legendary, well-received 12-issue maxi series, The Watchmen from DC Comics that came out 1986, 1987, originally written by really brilliant and cranky Alan Moore and drawn by Dave Gibbons, who's an amazing artist. And Alan Moore, if you don't know, famously refuses to take money from or put his name on any adaptation of any of his work. So if you watch the show, if you've seen the movie Watchmen, if you watch V for Vendetta, the credit is always co-created by Dave Gibbons. Dave always gets a credit. Alan Moore's like, no. And to his credit, I mean, he's like, no. They could offer him a ton of money, and I feel like he'd be like, no, fuck you.
He's got integrity.
He actually does have a lot of integrity. This was an amazing 9 episodes of television on HBO.
Man, we already know what you think.
I want to get, look, I'm just going to.
I love this movie.
There's my opening reactions. Anthony, let me go to you, and then we're going to go to Ruggs, who has copious notes and thoughts to get out.
He actually took notes. That's unbelievable.
That's amazing, Ruggs. You do more work than Anthony.
You've done more work. Yes.
It's not that hard.
But before, I just want to mention the viewers. This thing, it premiered with 1.5 million viewers, and the finale got 1.6 million viewers more, and the show averaged about 7 million viewers every episode over, live streaming and all the various
the math
platforms.
doesn't add up on that one.
No, this is counting all the platforms, which is not bad numbers for a first season of HBO. And the water cooler buzz on this show got stronger and stronger. So, Anthony, I know you haven't read the comic, but you've seen the movie.
I've seen the movie, and I'm familiar with the comic. I haven't read it, but I'm familiar with the story.
Well, let me know your opening thoughts overall, the finale. What did you see? What did you like? What did you think?
First off, what a year for HBO.
HBO had some fucking amazing shit. This is like the third great show on HBO this year.
Yeah, granted, Game of Thrones didn't end well, but it was still such a cultural thing.
Yeah.
So HBO's been buzzing for a bit, the whole year, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've never actually sat down and read the Watchmen comic. I know what happens. I'm familiar with the storyline. I'm somewhat familiar with the themes, but having never read it, I don't have, I guess, that baggage or that in-depth knowledge of how it pertains to this show. So for me, I had very little expectations for this show. In fact, I kind of didn't want to watch it. I thought the trailers were kind of whatever. I have to say, though, as the show continued on and I started getting deeper and deeper into the show and having to point out two real great episodes. I mean, the one with what's her name?
Sister Night. Angela Abar, Sister
this
Night.
Extraordinary Being, and
episode 6.
Episode 6, and a god walks into an A-bar. Episode 8.
And I didn't even catch the clue in the title. I always read it as a god walks into a bar, but it's a god walks into a bar.
I mean, those two especially, but by the end, I was trying to think of, what this show has to say and, what's the deeper meaning and all that stuff. And then by the end of it, I was analyzing the whole show, and I was just like, you know what? Screw it. I just know that for 9 weeks of television, by the end of it, I was completely enamored with the show and just could not wait until the last episode to turn that on. And usually, by the end, I just would watch the episode whenever I feel like it. I literally was like, okay, this is on, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
And I was completely satisfied by the end. So if a show from beginning to end can take me from a place where I just really didn't care to by the end being rabid to watch the final episode, I think the show's a success. I really enjoyed it. I know there's criticism of Damon Lindelof in the past. I've never really watched his stuff, so I can only judge it based on this. The only criticism I would have is maybe everything wrapped up a little too neatly, but I'm more interested in to hear what you guys think because you guys have actually read the comic. But for me, again, if a show can pull me in and suck me in, and by the end I'm just foaming at the mouth to watch the last couple episodes, then it's a huge success.
Okay, I'm just going to put this out there before we get to Ruggs. This was supposed to be an unfilmable book, and the ambition, the risk that he took, it's amazing how he got it to work. To his credit, all the questions I had throughout the show, he pretty much answers. There's answers to all of them. And that was one of the things I was worried about. He likes to throw stuff out there. There's one or two things that are just like fun Damon Lindelof things that he never goes back to, but it doesn't hurt the overall plot. And as far as like, this is like one of my favorite shows of the year. I will put this up there with Chernobyl season 1 on HBO, and both Chernobyl and this I liked better than season 8 of Game of Thrones. I'm going to say it, even though it's a great show. I love these two shows a little bit better, but what an amazing, like by the end of the show, you can go back and watch it again and get a whole different take with all the reveals you get. And I also think it improves on reading the book again. It takes the stuff it retcons in the book. When you go back and look at the book, it's amazing. Some of the reveals. So it's so compelling, so tightly written, perfectly cast, performed, shot. I loved all of it.
Wait, one more thing before Ruggs.
Yes.
So I would add also, the show succeeded in my book in terms of by the end of it, and even towards the middle of it, I was thinking to myself, damn, I need to go back and read that book.
Yes, that's
like if
great.
the show can make me
Holy shit.
interested in something that came out 30 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever the hell it is, I think that's also a success. So
I think clearly Lindelof is a fan of the original material, and this is, it's a remix, it's a continuation, it's not an adaptation of it, it's what would happen now. And I was so surprised at how fucking good this show was. Ruggs.
Yes.
Give us your opening thoughts. I want to start by asking you, do you think when we reviewed the pilot episode, you said it doesn't feel like Watchmen. You said that repeatedly, like a lot.
Yes.
Like several times. I think by the end of this show, it earns the title Watchmen. Do you agree? What did you think?
That's a good question. I feel like it's Watchmen in the way that, like, you take, like, all of the toys of Watchmen and then you play with those toys and you make a cool story that I really actually enjoyed watching. But still, Watchmen is so much more than the sum of its than its parts.
Yeah.
It's like they have pieces of Watchmen there, but is it Watchmen? The reason a lot of comics have a lot of things, a lot of stories have a lot of things that Watchmen had, but does it do it like the Watchmen does it? Does it challenge you the way it does? Not really. I did enjoy this show a lot. In fact, even though the whole time I was thinking it's not really Watchmen, but it's really good. So, that's the simplest way for me to put it is that it's really good. And that kind of trumps everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's done so well. It's acted really well. The payoffs are great. They use the characters really well from Watchmen. Like, they use, certain things really well, but then you could also make the argument that they kind of completely change the characters. So there's all these different ways you can look at it and observe it and analyze it to, like, it's both, it's one of those things. It's a paradox. It's both amazing and completely wrong at the same time.
See, I don't think they changed
that's how I feel about it.
They don't change the characters. This is why I find it hard to, when you say it's not completely Watchmen,
Okay,
it
so
evolves the characters.
Let's take one of the main characters that they use that they completely change.
Okay.
All right.
Where do you want to start?
I mean, there's so many things that we could talk about. The way it starts, some of the things that they just kind of like, they don't really get into. And, for example, Rorschach's journal.
Yes.
All right. So they say that these skinheads, or these white supremacists find it and they use it as their Bible. Now, number one, according to Watchmen, it's illegible and written by a crazy person.
Yeah.
All right. And if it's impossible to decipher. And if they found a way to read it, they would know that to look for Ozymandias as he was guilty of all the murders and stuff.
Right.
Nobody ever did that. That was not even mentioned.
But the 7th Cavalry knew the plan. They knew what the squid actually was. And the fact that they used the squid from the book and not the ending for the movie is amazing.
So how come the 7th Cavalry is the only people that found this book and used it? It's like a secret book that nobody knows about.
Well, the comic book ends off, it's given to the newspaper, and the last line in the comic book is he asks his editor, "What do I do with this journal?" And he says, "I leave it entirely in your hands." And so it's not really explicitly told.
So that
what
basically
happens.
You're saying that these guys, these white supremacists, know that the aliens are fake.
Yes, they knew it,
and that's it.
But they're such dumbasses that they got used by Lady True. They got trolled by her. She was using them. They thought they were in control, and their plan goes to complete shit.
But so they know that in that book to say he's going to Antarctica, all the stuff is there. Everything that you need to fucking take over the world is there, but they decide to just kill cops instead.
Well, they wanted to be they wanted to get Keen to be president.
They have a guy that can literally pull the strings on every single government, but they just decide to be kill cops.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, but
all right, so there you go. All right, so that's right thrown out the window.
The plan.
Okay. The next thing is Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
Okay.
This is like one of my favorite versions of Manhattan. What they did with it.
All right, so in the comic book, he abandons humanity. He loses his humanity.
Yes.
He's so removed from being human, he doesn't care about doing anything. He lets Ozymandias drop the squid. He doesn't even try and stop him. He leaves. He fucks off. And then, okay, they try and say that he creates an Eden. And that's really out of character for him to even want to do
he
that.
was bored, but they show you in the flashback.
But you don't get bored if you're boredom is not a thing that happens to somebody like that.
I think it is.
That's a human quality of being bored. He becomes not human.
He has so much power that he's just bored and he needs to connect with something.
All right. So then he gets so bored that he decides to care about humans again and forms a relationship with a girl and then decides to give up his godhood. I don't think that's just not the way Alan Moore wrote that character. It's just not. The whole point of it is you have a god, a person who could be a god. He doesn't give a fuck. That's the reality. What all the things that Alan Moore was trying to be is nihilistic. That like you point out this thing that could do something and then he doesn't give a fuck. And then so by him giving a fuck, it basically undoes that character.
But it's similar to his relationship with Laurie Silk Spectre 2 in the comic book.
Yeah, but he ultimately abandons it and ruins that relationship, isn't able to make it happen.
Well,
can I jump in, or are we still in the middle of the rundown?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Having not really cared about the book, I think Dr. Manhattan was awesome.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that I don't have that baggage of the book. So for me, I see it more like Imran, where he is just, he's all powerful. He's a god.
Yeah.
And he just becomes bored with it.
Yeah.
And he decides to create a perfect planet, and he becomes bored with that.
He becomes bored with Europa.
But even that creation was very, very, like, not uncreative and...
Well,
there's nothing...
they explain it in the flashback why he built that manor and made the clones of Crookshank and Mr. whatever his name was.
Yes.
Because he saw them having sex. Yes. He saw them having sex, and then that was his...
I find it interesting I find it interesting the concept of someone having everything and still being unsatisfied.
Yeah.
And that's what Dr. Manhattan was for me, as well as actually Ozymandias when he gets on that planet too, because he's like enamored to go on this planet. He's like, oh, this is perfect. And then he goes there and he realizes, fuck, I'm going to be bored as shit.
Yeah.
That's probably the most Alan Moore thing that happened.
Okay.
Was that he became, like, Ozymandias wanted to be a god so much, then he ends up hating it.
He ends up hating it.
That's an Alan Moore thing, and so that's an olive branch there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyway, this whole turn of, like, Dr. Manhattan coming back down to Earth and then forming a new relationship, whatever, that he already knows how it's going to happen. There wasn't even a point in doing it.
Well,
he knows how it's going to turn out.
He does and he doesn't.
It's weird.
Because
it's a weird conceptualization. He's living it and he's living everything at the same time.
But he still wants humanity to make choices. So that whole episode 8, I never thought it was possible to communicate how they did in the comic the way Dr. Manhattan
No, they did that great.
Holy shit.
That's one of the reasons I like the show so much, is because even though they're using the character wrong, they're showing that correctly. They're showing that great. So that's what I'm going for. It's like, I feel like it's not, if Alan Moore was to look at this and go, well, I would never do that with him.
Yeah.
And that's not what he's supposed to be representing.
Yeah.
But if you're going to use him, at least use him well. And they did. So for their purpose of the story, they used him well. So there's that. So then there's the fact that Dr. Manhattan exists.
Yeah.
All right. So we're in a world where superhumans exist. All right.
One superhuman.
Yeah.
All right. So that should be the new nuke, right? That happened in a lab. They know it happened in a lab.
That was their plan.
That should be the new thing every country's racing for. That should be something that religions are rallying around to prove that the divinity exists. Well, if Dr. Manhattan exists, then God could exist.
Or it can't.
And none of that's even explored at all. None of that's even that should completely change the way because somebody created a nuclear bomb and it changed everything. All right. It changed the way every country works, the race for power, not explored at all. Okay. Then you take the fact that there was a giant squid dropped on New York City during the 1980s, which had about 9 million people living in it, plus about 3 million commuters.
3 million people. 6 died.
3 million died.
They say in the show 3 million, but it would have been more like 6 or 9 or like about 6 million people, like twice the amount. And then the people that weren't killed were psychically scarred and became insane because like the way that Ozymandias built this thing was a psychic creature. So it's supposed to like scare the shit out of people to get along.
Yeah.
So that they didn't explore that really at all. So you figure like 8 million people died. All right. So the world's most advanced and populated city, which is New York City, home to economic core of the world, the biggest social melting pot. It has art and culture. The birth of rap music and street art was happening at that time. Completely decimated, not the focus of the show. On top of it, people died because of a skyscraper-sized alien squid that terrifies people so much that they explode. Did it. So this giant alien exists. It destroys an entire city just by dying on it. Something terrible like that exists. Superhumans exist that can destroy things with a wave of his hand. And that literally changes nothing about the world. It's exactly the same. Like there's really no big difference other than the fact that Robert Redford became president. And the Cold War ends anyway in our reality. So like the fact that the Cold War ended doesn't make it any like nothing changes.
Internet and cell phones are banned. That's a huge change.
Yeah, but that's.
And I never thought we would get to see the fucking squid. They showed us the squid.
We saw the squid and it looked awesome. Yeah. Okay, so that's another thing that looked great. But these are things that I'm thinking about this whole time. Okay. Like, all right, New York, they showed it for one scene in like 2 seconds, but you never hear about New York again.
But they have an event. It's called like 12/5 or 5/12. It's like their own 9/11, but it is referred to as their 9/11.
Yes.
It's also referred to as a place that people don't visit anymore.
Oh yeah.
They wouldn't rebuild it like they rebuilt Japan after it got decimated.
I mean, you got to start with Vietnam after decimating that, but that's another change. Vietnam is the 51st state, and just kind of like, it was interesting. Someone mentioned it's kind of like Hawaii, where there's Hawaiians, and then all of a sudden they're also American citizens, and how the Vietnamese some would like it and welcome the savior, and some are really pissed that they've been taken over and invaded.
That's an interesting thing. I actually like that a lot as well. So there's things that Watchmen does very well. That's why I like the show. But there's things that I just think are off about Alan Moore. And
this is Lindelof's interpretation of his material.
But I mean, you have to at least carry over like the main tragedy at the end. Like, what was the point of Watchmen? All right. In order to create change, sometimes terrible things have to happen, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the heroes you worship are actually terrible people, you find out. All right. The ideas and the ideals that we wrap around ourselves to make us feel good at the end of the day in Watchmen are just a big joke. So Alan Moore asks all those questions to question all these things that you like hold up really high. And Lindelof didn't ask you to question anything.
He has different questions.
They didn't unmask the heroes like they did in Watchmen. They unmasked politics. They unmasked the hero. What is a hero? And in this show, it's basically a do-over. They redistribute and they remake the idea of a hero back to one of triumph, like triumph over tragedy. Real justice does exist. It's just hidden. And the idea in Alan Moore was that there are no real heroes and there is no justice. Alan Moore's a nihilist, and his novel's about nihilism. And this show is about hope and justice, in which everything is, Watchmen said, was a joke.
I don't agree with that. I think it was more interested in themes from Watchmen than actually.
So the whole entire thing is that we're going to fool everybody into getting in line because everything's a big joke. That's not really explored.
It's a hoax.
The whole laughing smiley face with blood on it. All of those themes of it being a complete joke. Everything's a joke. Like there is no justice. There is no real heroes. If you unmask every single person, you're going to find a skeleton in their closet.
Well, yeah,
all of these things.
I mean, but that's what the show is about.
There was pieces of it. The nice cop that you really liked end up being a racist.
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
There's that there. There's a little bit of it there. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's about creating a new hero. And we created like all these new heroes that are actually heroic and they don't really have, I mean, just name problems in the heroes that they created. Well, there aren't any.
I would say it raises, so again, having not the baggage of that, I would say it raises different questions and different themes in terms of, like your past, for instance. Your past, whether you even know about your past or not, it carries over. It's almost generational.
You are your past.
For instance, Sister Night.
Yeah.
she's angry and she doesn't even know why she's angry.
Yep.
But you realize, like, you see that she's grown up. Her grandfather had all this anger, and her dad, died in front of her. So you see this anger just coming across generation to generation. Or you look at like Lady True. She is like no fucking relation to, like, never really interacted with her dad, Ozymandias, but she is exactly the same person, even more of a fucking, like, I don't even know what the word is. Narcissist and just arrogant and
megalomaniacal.
And God-fearing and wants to be almost a god. Same thing as Ozymandias, and you see it over and over, even with like the white supremacists.
Yep,
they've carried that anger generationally throughout till this point, where they're like hiding in the shadows, hiding under the Rorschach thing, hiding under being a politician, but they're still angry. So I thought that was a very interesting theme that they had going on. And then the other one, I raised it earlier, being just the fact that gods get bored, or people, being a god. You would like Lady True's whole basis of her character is to do the right thing with that power, right?
But he knew that she wouldn't, because power corrupts.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly.
So that's the theme, is the subject of power. Who holds the power? Who can be trusted with the power? What should be done with this power? And Ozzy, I love when her mom inseminated herself with Ozzy. She's like, fuck you, Ozymandias.
What do you think? Okay, let's say that that Sister Night, now she eats the egg and she becomes Dr. Manhattan.
She may have his powers.
Well, you don't know that.
Well, wouldn't she eventually become the same thing and become bored and have to go through that whole thing as well? Because as soon as you see the past, the present, and the future, and you could see everything down to a molecular level, wouldn't you think man is insignificant? Just like,
we don't know how she would react to this power.
Well, we also don't know if she got it.
And
it's the spinning top ending,
right? It's like Inception, and that's
why I think that they should leave it at that.
Definitely leave it at that.
If she gets the power, I don't know what could really happen. Like that would be worth exploring.
Well, we did kind of see, I guess, the journey of what Damon Lindelof would think of what you would do with that power. So you get bored, you try to create life, you get bored with that, and then you realize, hey, these humans are pretty awesome. I need to reconnect with humanity because that's the only thing that'll make me feel fulfilled in my life.
But at no point do you intervene and make everybody's life easier, because there is no doing that.
Well,
there is no point. You can't do that.
But he does.
He could, but it's the beauty of humanity is that you let them choose. You don't
the
decide.
The minute you have free will.
Yeah. He wants humanity to make their mistakes.
Can't do anything.
Right. The beauty of the humanity is the mistakes.
Yeah.
Like he can snap his fingers.
Yeah.
Make everything go away that we fight about.
That's Lady True's whole thing. That's why she's so obsessed with him.
And yet human beings would still fight about something.
Right.
But then also Will Reeves says at the very end, he goes, Manhattan, pretty good guy. He did a lot, but he probably could have done more. Huh?
I mean, it also, like, if you look at, we were talking about the white supremacists being the 7th Cavalry, and by the end, Lindelof's whole message is these white supremacists are dummies.
They were dummies.
Like, they're too short. They're like white supremacy is so short-sighted that it should be just dismissed with a flick of a finger. Like, that's basically how he handles that at the end. It's like, you guys are so short-sighted about using this power to empower your race that you just get laughed at by Lady True.
You get played by her.
Yeah, you basically get trolled by the end of the movie.
I did love
the series. Sorry.
Senator Keene had the silly underwear on that's from the comic books. That he's like, I'm not waving my junk out there like Manhattan, and that was a nice nod to the comics. And then he gets fucking gooed. But we're missing the big thing that Lindelof did was replace the Cold War sentiment from the book with race relations, America's history, America's past.
That's probably the most brilliant thing.
It's amazing. And the reveal of Hooded Justice being a black man the whole time, and why, because
a black gay man,
but why he needs to appear white.
That was the best thing, because it subverted your expectations, and you unmasked somebody, and there was something in the unmasking that was interesting.
And you tied in the fact, I think in the comic he wears the lynching
he wears
rope, right?
He has a noose.
So now it makes sense, right?
Yes, it made sense this whole time. I was like, "Fuck! Why did I see that?" And even in the show, when you first meet Will Reeves, he's holding a noose. Like there was clues to Cal being Manhattan, clues to him being Hooded Justice. It was so well thought out and put together, and the whole Ozymandias thing, the way they thought that out and rolled in the story within the story, which is like what they do with the book with the Black Freighter, but they do with Ozymandias here, and it works way better.
I enjoyed Ozymandias by the end, I was like, oh man, I like him just because of the fact that he's been so bored that he created an adversary for himself, and he just goes, "No, you are
was I worthy, master?"
But that's his whole.
Yeah.
At this point in his life, that's his whole goal, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not to save the world. He's already done that.
Yeah.
Right. He's already saved the world. Gets no credit for it. He doesn't care.
Did he really save anything? He didn't do anything.
He stopped nuclear holocaust.
Sure. But in his mind, he saved the world once.
Yeah.
But his whole goal at this point is to find a worthy adversary, and it fucking pops up at his door. And he realizes it when he gets transported back to Earth, like, this is the worthy adversary, which is Lady True. So he gets to be the hero in his own mind
daughter.
once again.
Dude, and that statue, he was there the whole time. I knew that statue was him. That
There's
was
some
amazing.
brilliant stuff in this show. That's why I like it.
Yeah.
I think as much as I have a lot of criticisms of it, because, not criticisms, but just how it deviates from the source material and how there's some, if you have an idea of the connective tissue that you might be like, I don't really get it. But if you can kind of do what Anthony did and kind of like diminish how attached you are to the source material and just take it for what it is.
I think it honors the source material. I really think it does.
Well, if you look at it from your point of view, yes. But like, I don't agree anyway. When I read Watchmen, I had to read it like 3 times.
Oh, you have to read this throughout your whole life.
Because like, I hated it at first. I was like, this is the most fucking negative, assholey thing. And then I started reading. I'm like, oh, this is like fucking raw. And oh my God, he's completely just shitting on everything that we love about comics.
He's trolling superheroes.
Yeah, he's like this idea that there is truth and justice in the American way. Yeah. The idea is that you can actually make a difference without being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like you have to be a piece of shit to get things done sometimes. Like nothing happens without getting your hands dirty.
Again, here's the egg analogy that's in this throughout the whole show. You got to break a few eggs to get things to work. And I loved how
tangentially.
I love how they worked in the egg metaphor throughout the whole show, as well as the clock metaphors. But it was more the egg, and Cal Manhattan even says, "What came first, the chicken or the egg?" Both at the same time.
There is things that they work in this version very well. The they figured that, okay, if after this whole squid thing happened, Robert Redford becomes president, gives reparations to everyone, and then these white people are all enraged because, like, they're getting all this free stuff.
They're becoming the hated race of the modern generation.
Yeah. So and that creates a hotbed of like racism that, I don't know. It was that's now guided by Rorschach's journal. Okay, I could make some of those leaps and go along with it. And so it's like they've taken it to a place where you can, like Imran, jump on this and like embrace it. You can. If you really want to, you can. And even though I didn't, I still like the show. So that's the power of this show.
Yeah.
For somebody who's not even on board with some of it, to still like it, they did something good. And somebody who doesn't even like Lindelof.
Yeah.
So there's something really special about this show.
Let me ask Ruggs and Imran if you want to jump into, but I want to get into other stuff, but now you brought up Lindelof, there was the whole stick around him of he doesn't stick the landing.
Yeah.
For this show and this story, did you think he stuck the landing?
Ruggs?
Oh, I think that the ending is like that spinning top, and that's, I think that and the fact that a lot of the questions were answered, and they were answered enough where I can go, okay, for this show, it makes perfect sense and it works. I did like the ending.
I think he absolutely nails the ending. He does land the ending. Now,
my only criticism of the ending, real quick, is almost too neatly wrapped up. It felt like all these threads.
There was a lot after.
There was a ton of threads, and they all ended up coming to the same point in the story.
Yeah,
I just felt that was a little almost too cute, but I wasn't like pissed off or anything. I was just more like, this is a very neat ending.
Yeah, it's contrived, but it works in the way that he's constructed.
So that last shot, Angela eats the egg, and it's just perfect. I knew they were going to do this. She steps on the water, and it cuts. Now, in episode 8, remember, Cal made it a point to stand on the pool, and she goes, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "You need to see me do this," like kind of alluding to something. But do you think that last shot is a cliffhanger, or is it an ending?
Both?
I think it should be an ending.
I mean, just like the spinning top in Inception.
I would say it's both. I don't think they're going to do another season where they pick up. I think it's a cliffhanger in that it's an ending, but it's not the end.
Let's
you don't get
extrapolate the ending.
I like it as an ending.
Do if let's say this is the cliffhanger. Like, where do you go from?
Well, I'm just saying it's a cliffhanger in the fact that there's no decisiveness. Like, I don't think you make another thing. I think it's a cliffhanger in the fact that you're still left thinking, okay, did she get it? Did she not? Does it matter?
It's kind of how the book ends, too, leaving it open-ended with the journal. Like, are people going to find out what's going to happen? Does it matter, Anthony? That's the question. It really doesn't matter.
Doesn't
you can
matter.
get a status quo by not having her become Dr. Manhattan.
Right.
And having Dr. Manhattan reform himself like he always does when he gets destroyed.
What if there's other eggs that he gave to people also? And there's other people that have part of the power.
I don't think he'd do that. I just don't. I mean, he would. Giving it to her makes sense because she comes from a lineage of people who do the right thing, and are heroic and seek justice, and at their own peril they do it. So it'd be the perfect person to give it to.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he made eggs around the world. That would make sense.
I love the full circle of the character of Will Reeves, where it starts with him being torn away from his family. Very Superman-like opening, but then it ends with him coming back to his family. So poetic, and you just feel so good for Reeves. The other thing that was great was the commentary on masks. You saw the masks, the cops wearing masks. The 2 lines from Ozymandias' point of view. When the game warden asks why you gave me a mask, Ozzy says, masks make men cruel. And he wanted, but Reeves tells Angela at the very end, you can't heal under a mask. Wounds need air. And Angela's journey, as opposed to at the end of a superhero show, the person finally puts the mask on. Instead, it's flipped. She's realized that she doesn't need the mask. She probably won't be Sister Night again ever.
He also adds in that he wasn't wearing the mask because he was angry. He wore it because he was afraid.
Because he was afraid. And Ozymandias, a white guy, doesn't wear a fucking mask. Everybody knows who he is. But the whole twist of making Hooded Justice a black man was amazing, and it played to the anger and the fear. And a lot of the anger she's feeling comes from fear and sadness and not really anger.
That episode's one of the best they've done.
Yeah.
6 or 8? I don't know which one is better.
I like both, but 6, I mean, the most iconic shot is him getting lynched in the point of view shot.
You're in the hood, and you're like, holy fuck, are we going to watch him die? And they let him go. Yes.
So good.
And then as he makes holes in the eyes, you're like, oh shit, I should have seen this the whole time. But then in 8, the fact that they could recreate Manhattan's experience without any flashy special effects and just straight storytelling and direction was fucking amazing. I've never seen anything like that. And also, why did Laurie have a big blue dildo? Did they market this? Was this like a product you could buy, a Manhattan dildo?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, everyone wants to fuck a guy. What did you think? See, one of the things I didn't like was the masked cops. I never thought that worked.
Yeah, and they kind of abandoned that after the beginning.
Like you didn't like just the idea of it?
I just think that it didn't add anything to the story or make it make sense anymore. Or I don't think it was needed to be there.
The only thing I picked up is that with wearing the masks, all of a sudden now it's indiscernible if you can even tell who the good guys or the bad guys are.
That's a big thing.
And that's the chaos that the 7th Cavalry wanted to create.
Yeah, and it was a result of the White Knight, which was their thing, to get the cops into masks and get
I didn't like the red guy, the Russian guy. That guy
was kind of a comedy character.
Yeah, Pirate Jenny and the Red Scare.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, they didn't work.
So, Lube Man.
That's the one thing they didn't. This is the one thing they didn't answer. What the fuck happened to Lube Man? He was my favorite.
Online, he's Sally's. What's the girl's name?
Dale Petey, Laurie's assistant.
Sidekick,
in Peteypedia, which if you check out the Peteypedia website, there's tons of extra shit in there. People are saying that may be him. You could do a spin-off of Lube Man, but how funny was that? She's chasing him. He drops his belt, oils stuff up, and then just slides into the sewer. I was like, what the fuck? What just happened?
It's almost from like a different show.
It was.
One part.
And so that's like
random.
That's like a Lindelof thing where he's like, this is just for fun. But a couple other great allusions. I kind of love how in this universe, blaxploitation films are kind of the superhero cinema. Fact, you see in the flashback that when Angela picks up the movie, the nun with the motherfucking gun, and she's dressed just like Sister Night. And
I don't think that's unique though to this.
Well,
that's a real thing.
That's real life.
But also, even her name. First of all, Kal. You have Kal-El, Superman illusion. You have the Reeves name, Superman illusion. A-Bar. There is a blaxploitation film from the 70s. It's called A-Bar, the first black Superman. And that is a deep cut.
No one's denying though that they did their research and they like named these characters cleverly.
They did nice polls.
Yeah.
I don't think those are nice things, but I don't
textbook stuff.
Yeah, I don't think that's like things to point out in terms of why this show is awesome. Personally,
Imran loves Easter eggs.
I
know
love
you love
eggs,
Easter
and
eggs.
it's full of Easter eggs.
I like the wider lens of how like the themes of the story in particular episodes, not necessarily the little, because those things, honestly, those things don't matter to me because I didn't fucking read the comic, nor did I grow up in the 70s and watch blaxploitation films. So,
how about the Cyclops OK symbol that they kind of appropriated from like the real life controversies of people think that OK symbol is a white supremacy symbol. And they used it for, but then the Cyclops and the eye and the.
Let's move on from these.
Okay.
What did you guys think of Ozymandias' whole side plot on Europa?
I thought it was really great.
Did you have it figured out before they told you what was really going on?
I thought I thought he was on another planet, but I wasn't. You're not sure for many episodes until he starts launching people into the air and making the suit, and you're like, oh, I thought Manhattan had him a hostage somewhere.
Yeah, I thought basically Manhattan was jailing him,
and he kind of
like it wasn't like I did it. Yeah, it was like a trick jail.
It was a trick. He's like, give me this, I'll send you there. But then when
for a while, go ahead.
No, just when he gets out and builds the sign with bodies, it's fucking amazing. And the whole seeing the actual spaceship come down and douse him in gold, and you're like, oh fuck, he was there the whole time. Lady True had him right there.
For a while, I was like, this is weird. This is another show as well.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. By the end, I was like, oh, they figured out a way to tie this in. I liked the way they tied it in at the end, but for the longest time, I mean, it was literally like a different show. I mean, him farting in the court. What is going on here?
And it wasn't a.
I did like. What's that guy's actor's name?
Jeremy Irons. Amazing.
I like him as Ozymandias.
Amazing as Ozymandias, and I liked how it wasn't a parallel storyline. It was concurrent. Like you weren't sure when that was happening, but then that storyline and the main storyline.
What about the elephant?
The elephant was
what
weird.
Was that?
What?
I don't understand what that was.
Okay, the elephant was weird. This
providing
is
the memories? Is it because an elephant never forgets? Is that the whole thing?
It was a combination to flush out that much nostalgia out of our system. They needed a large animal, but it was kind of elephants never forget, and that this elephant is hoarding and storing these memories, and maybe they grab
That's
memories. It was very strange. Because in the podcast, Lindelof says, you know, everyone thought it was going to be Reeves at the end of that thing,
right?
But if it was, then what happens? You know, it was a little too obvious. So
I heard that podcast is good.
It's so good, dude. And what's it
called?
It's called Watchmen podcast. It's just called and there's only 3 episodes. They talk about 3 episodes at a time. And Lindelof is on it, and you hear about all his inspiration, what he went through, and how much he loves this book. It's a great companion piece. They did the same with Chernobyl, and that was an amazing podcast with the show. But
were you guys sad that there was no appearance by Owlman?
That's the one guy we didn't hear. Apparently he's still sitting in jail this whole time.
Oh, he was in jail?
Yeah. He was at the end of Watchmen. He goes to jail
for what?
For being a vigilante, because they outlawed vigilantism. In fact, Senator Keene, his father, is the guy who wrote the policy to outlaw vigilantes.
The closest thing you got was his ship, right?
You saw the original Archie, and then you saw them make ships.
Use the technology.
Use on his technology. But I love how he was fascinated with how Dr. Manhattan was made, and he was actually torching those fucking bodies. But then you realize why he needed these bodies. He needed things to launch.
He was just bored.
Yeah,
he was just bored. He was just experimenting. He was basically like those Nazi scientists that were experimenting on people.
Yeah.
He's so fucking bored.
So he was up there like 7, 8 years?
8 years.
Yeah.
But what exactly happened? He left. That little spot was like a pocket to somewhere else?
That was like a pocket of Europa that Dr. Manhattan made livable.
And he was going to live there, but then For some reason, he comes down and he connects with Angela, and he wants a way to forget, bury it, and that's what Adrian gives him. In return, he's like, I built you, because Adrian always wanted a utopia. Mahan's like, I've made one. It's just not here, but I'll send you there.
He realizes the utopia sucks.
Utopia is not all cracked up
When
to
you
be.
have two people in
Yeah.
it.
Dude, him plucking the little babies from the river to find the clothes was so creepy and weird.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you were Dr. Now, you make a planet of two people.
That's all he knew. That's all. He's a weirdo. I don't know. How about putting?
It's just stupid. I don't know.
Putting making when he came back. First of all, I love how you didn't see his face in episode 8, and he wore the mask, and then Yahya Abdul-Mateen becomes Manhattan.
Did
and
you guys see that coming?
No, he did such a great job, and I did not think that Cal was fucking Manhattan.
I think that episode was great, and I feel like I knew because of the hands. Yes, you don't see his face.
Yeah.
So there was points in before that they shot it right where any of the scenes before that bar scene, it was some other actor you never see his face.
Yeah.
And then, because you don't want to give away the build, you don't want to give away anything, shape of the face, shape of the head, anything like that. Even from the back, you could tell. But then when you see certain things, you could see like maybe the skull cap on, that to make him bald or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm like, it's him.
He also had a very gentle way about him, right?
Yeah.
And his whole thing was, I didn't pick up on it until after, but his whole thing was he doesn't remember his past because of amnesia.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there's a sense of mystery around this guy,
fishy
too.
from the beginning.
Right.
And
I also, oh, sorry. One quick thing. One of my buddies texted me this. He's like, man, this thing is really woke. Because he just goes, by the end, the heroes are a black woman, a black man wearing blue,
black man's
and
God,
an Asian woman is the villain.
Yeah. It's. I mean,
and all the white supremacists are killed with a flick of a finger.
And they're all dead. And they put a black man's face on a god, which is, I think it's huge.
And a black dick.
Yeah, and it's giant. There was a lot of blue
you got
penis.
to see the thick and girth.
There was a lot of blue penis in this show. Yes. Let's talk about. I love Gene Smart and Tim Blake Nelson as Laurie Blake.
Great.
Tim Blake as Wade Tillman, Looking Glass. Great performances. However, my one little criticism is they kind of got sidelined towards the end of the show. The show is about Angela, and it came back to Angela, but Looking Glass's origin episode where you find out, he was a Jehovah's Witness, and he was in a mirrored funhouse. The only thing that saved him from the squid, which is why he wore the reflectine. And then when he finds out that it was all a hoax, his whole life has been a lie. The conspiracy he's believed in has not been true. Is amazing. But then you don't see much of him.
The only criticism I had of them two with Ozymandias is, if Ozymandias is supposed to be like the smartest man in the world and have like every contingency planned for, how the hell does he get stuck up behind and hit with a wrench?
That was hilarious, though. I love when because
I know it's played for laughs.
He does talk too much. He's like, that dude talks too much.
How does this Looking Glass guy just sneak up and hit him in the head with a wrench?
So here's a big question: if you're talking about,
doesn't he have like superhuman reflexes?
No. Well, he did.
Catches a bullet.
He did catch the bullet. He's a little bit older now, though.
I guess.
But the bigger question,
small criticism,
if you're thinking of a season 2 or what happens ever after they arrest him. And now the whole world is going to know that he put Redford in. He caused the squid. This was all a hoax. Robert Redford is going to be thrown out of office. He's broke the law. Like, now everyone knows.
Let me ask a question about characters that don't exist.
Yeah.
So, what's her name? Laurie Blake?
Yeah.
Gene Smart?
Yeah.
As Laurie Blake. So she's complicit in the secret the entire time.
She knew.
She knows.
She definitely knows.
So what changes by the end where she's like, you need to go to jail?
That's a good point. She knew this whole time and didn't do shit.
Yeah, that's another one I have written down that I didn't say.
It may be that now she's
seen a god, but she's already seen a god.
Yeah,
I don't get what
she was in a relationship with him.
Right.
She was in love with him.
She was complicit with the whole secret. So what by the end makes her go, yeah, you're going to jail now?
When they should have done that the first time at the end of the movie.
She should have had that. She should have had that mindset to start. Like, if I find Ozymandias, he's going to jail.
Yeah.
Well, she knows exactly where it is. She was there.
Yeah, that's true. I guess Antarctica is a tough place to get
I like that we got to go back to Karnak, his base up in Antarctica. That was kind of a nice Easter egg.
That didn't make sense.
What, that they went up there? That he was up there?
No, that she was complicit, and then by the end, she's like, you're going to jail.
Now, that's a good point. Now, after all this, after 30 years, you're going to fucking arrest me?
Sure, I'm sure that you could sit there and make an argument, like, for anything in this show. You can make an argument why it's brilliant, but, like, yeah, there's definitely stuff
I did love the moment where
he should definitely go to jail. It's just I didn't understand her character
all of a sudden now.
Making that
well, also I thought it was interesting that she was a vigilante and now she's like the top vigilante hunter. So maybe over the course of time, she's like, "This is the one guy I got to get."
But couldn't she just out him?
Yeah,
but yet she's helping vigilantes.
She could have outed him. Yes, she's helping vigilantes. Also, I love the reveal that Judd Crawford, his wife, and Angela Abar knew the whole time that fucking Cal was Manhattan, and he became friends with the family to keep an eye on them for the moment to kill him, but then the plans get fucked up. I love how they explain. Remember in the first episode, they're hoarding batteries, and I'm like, what the fuck are these batteries for? They fucking answer that. They made the containment cage for their plan, and their plan kind of gets fucked up because that guy in the first episode,
squid that rain out of the sky, which is I think is ridiculous.
Judd Crawford,
frozen squid. You fuck.
The frozen squids were crazy. They're just like missiles. But the original plan of the 7th Cavalry gets fucked up when that guy kills the cop in the first episode. That wasn't supposed to happen, which explains why Judd torches that whole house and the plane. He can't have anybody going back saying this guy who's on our side is now, he's fucked up. So
I got a quick comment on the frozen squid.
Yeah.
This is a minor criticism.
Yeah.
If it has enough force to plop through Lady True's hand, I don't know how anyone even with cover could run through
all the
that.
buildings should be destroyed too, wouldn't
right?
They? Yeah.
Even her just carrying the briefcase, I was like, she should be fucking dead.
It was a metal briefcase. It was reinforced.
Was it?
But steel, because she looked at it and it wasn't breaking. But all the structures, they would have gone right through the roof of every fucking thing.
Except for that movie theater, it's made out of.
Yeah, the movie theater was fine where they're hanging out at the end. The same.
Also,
theater
it was very convenient that she happens to just run into the movie theater and he's just chilling.
That's where he starts.
It's a very neat ending.
That's because it ends where it starts. That's where he starts.
I know, but
the show.
she, out of all the places she runs to, it's that one.
I even love the stuff like in the second episode when they drop the leaflets when the Germany in World War I on the black soldiers saying, "Why are you fighting for America? They don't let you do anything. They don't let you sit with them. They don't let you vote. Come fight for us."
Yeah,
that actually happened.
Yeah, come fight for us where he just roast people in ovens.
That's what. Yeah, in Germany,
we're great.
They actually fucking tried that propaganda in World War I.
You can make an argument for anything if you want to.
Here's a question for Ruggs because I remember from the first episode.
Yeah.
You definitely thought the Tulsa stuff was a little exploitive.
I do think that.
Did your mind change on that by the end, or you still thought so?
No, I think that. Look, it's great that people know about it now and everything like that. But I feel like it was like, all right, you're really trying to tap it. Like right now, it's cool to to kind of do these things where you're using people's feelings to try and generate buzz, right?
Or emotion for the show.
Yeah. So that's exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, we're going to get people talking about this by kind of getting this situation and putting it on as a centerpiece to the show.
I could see that.
And I just felt like, all right, we do that with World War II a lot. We use the Holocaust a lot and stuff like that. And the thing is, it's I think I'm cooler with that because it's something that everybody knows about and everybody's taught about. And then when you introduce this, it seems okay, nobody knows about it. People don't get mad about the Holocaust because they know it their whole lives. Of course it's a terrible thing, but they're not they see it in a movie and all of a sudden they flip the fuck out because, oh my God, I can't believe this happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was a little bit manipulative to do that, but whatever. I mean, shows do it all the time. I'm just pointing it out.
I like that it incorporates the theme of, these people. You see it in Batman and Heroes where a tragic loss is what always starts their journey. This is becoming a hero or vigilante is a reaction to a tragedy in your life. It happens to Will Reeves. It happens to Angela Abar. Her parents get blown up in front of her by a Vietnamese separatist. So that's one of the themes is people put on these masks and do this because there's always this tragedy. And it's another reason why I felt Manhattan connected with her, just like Laurie Blake. He felt her loss. He felt the tragedy in her life. And there's something about that he likes, clearly, because both of them have similar tragic backstories.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed the episode. I was trying to think of like the part where they do the kind of Terminator thing where he's talking to Abar. Not Abar, the fucking, what's the old guy's name?
Will Reeves.
Will Reeves. He's talking to Will Reeves in 2008, and he's talking to Angela in 2019.
Yeah.
And she asks him, "Hey, how did you know that Crawford was a racist?" And he asks Reeves, and Reeves was like, "Oh, he's a racist."
Yeah.
Or no, oh, he's part of the Cyclops.
Yeah.
Like that whole dynamic of what came first, chicken or egg. Like what?
Right.
Another egg reference.
It sets up loops, like these time loops.
Yeah, this time loop thing of like this is always like. I thought that was clever.
It's amazing.
I thought it was clever because the way Dr. Manhattan experiences life, it kind of makes sense that this is the catalyst for why Will Reeves goes on this last journey.
Yeah.
To redeem himself or to fix things.
Another thing is that's kind of weird when you have Dr. Manhattan in here is that a lot of the stuff that occurs in the original Watchmen novel, he would have known about what happens after, right? So I think things would have been
that's a
different.
Good point.
That's a tricky thing to do.
Yeah, his perception of time is weird because again, he knows, but he doesn't know, but he knows.
What do you mean he doesn't know?
Because it's like
he does it. He knows. He just doesn't. He hasn't experienced.
Yes, for example, remember when he meets her,
or he's experiencing it at the same time.
But he has and he doesn't because when he first meets Angela, she goes, "When was the moment you knew you were in love with me?" And he was like, "Was there a moment? Is there?" And then later, when he's about to die, it's so great, and he goes, "This is that moment."
He does say there's a moment. I forgot.
No, I thought he says he doesn't know the moment yet because it hasn't happened in a weird way.
I think he does. I think he meant. I'd have to rewatch, but I think he does know the moment.
I just love it.
It's a very weird conceptualization of how he is.
Yeah, it's so hard to
The only thing he doesn't know is that those X amount of years when he has the thing in his head.
Right, where it's a blank.
Right.
I just loved at the end where he's going, "I'm in Afghanistan now," when he's dying, and she's like, "Where are you now?" And he's like, "I'm in all of our moments. This is the moment. I'm in all the moments together."
It is tough.
So good.
I mean, I'm just thinking about the comic now. If Dr. Manhattan knows that he's going to get bored, that's strange too.
Yeah, he knew he was going to die also in this.
Well, I'm saying like he would go to he goes to Mars.
Yeah.
And he knows he's gonna create a planet full of life.
Yeah.
But he knows that's gonna bore him.
Yeah.
And he knows that's so strange.
It is.
He's just gonna come back to Earth and do it all over
And
again.
then he's gonna come back
It's
to
inevitable.
Earth and get in love again. Like
Yeah.
he knows that's so strange.
And he knows he's going to have a big blank part of his life. And yeah, it's wild to say. And then, yeah.
It's a wild concept. It's hard to, it's honestly, it's hard to even think about.
I mean, they did such a good
It's hard
job
to make sense.
visualizing it in episode 8.
Yeah, they did a great job.
I never thought you'd be able to pull that off.
Whatever you want to say about all the arguments that I posed, in all of these weird things, all these things, the inconsistencies that we find, it still was very entertaining. And that's to be commended. It was definitely great to see, a lot of these new heroes kind of, even though they're not nihilistic in the way Alan Moore envisioned them, they are hopeful and they are heroic and they are seeking justice and they all suffered and they all, kind of get there happy. Like they're a family at the end, what I mean?
Yeah.
So all of these things are nice, Hollywood things.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is not Alan Moore. But I also found it to be satisfying too, because I remember when I first read Watchmen, I was like not liking it.
Yeah.
So this is more digestible. It's more for you to like it right away. It's more like created to not to challenge you, but to kind of make you feel good about yourself and good about what can be done by people who really want to do things.
I mean, there's two things it does well that it's similar to the book. It's a self-contained story like the book, but also, leaves you on that spinning top ending. But also, when you get to the reveal at the end, if you go back and watch this thing again, now knowing what you know, I feel it's going to be a whole different show, and I can't wait to kind of watch it again.
Oh, I think that on another watch, it's because it was meticulously written. It was you could tell that he really labored over this, and that's why it works. It's like way better than anything he's ever done. I think it's because it has an end.
Yeah, and he knew. He knew there was going to be an end.
Yeah, I think that the fact that he had this like little amount of shows to work with, and he had the he played in that thing as best he could. I mean, yes, some characters got sidelined and were weak, or some of the things that were kind of explored were not really explored enough and didn't make a lot of sense. But the main characters, the main story arc, the main thing that keeps driving the plot,
it does resolve.
Those were all really good.
Yeah.
And
the journey of Angela discovering her roots, where she's from, what it means, like it all wrapped itself up well. So
I would say between this and the first season of The Boys, these are two shows that are definitely I don't even know if the word is elevating, but they're showing a different side to the genre.
Sophisticated, yeah.
Yeah, they're a little bit more sophisticated. They're showing that the comic book genre, or at least the superhero part of the comic book genre, is more than just popcorn movies or Marvel stuff. There's other layers to this, and I think overall it'll challenge. Hopefully, it'll challenge Marvel and all the other people that are producing comic book stuff for TV and movies to look at things a different way and tell stories in a different way.
And what's holding back Marvel is their PG-13. That it's going to be, they can try to take lessons from this.
I don't think PG-13 is that. I think that's a lame handicap. I think you could tell great stories regardless of the rating.
Absolutely tying it in. And I was worried with The Boys out that this Watchmen, if it would look too similar, like they were copying. But I love both series for different reasons. They do different things.
The Boys is more along the lines of Alan Moore's nihilistic view of the world, and the fact that everything is kind of a oxymoron, or you know what I mean? Like it's all like a joke. It's all like
more, The Boys
beat you down more,
but it's like a weird dark comedy too. It's darkly comic. You don't have so much comedy in Watchmen.
This is actually more along the lines of what Marvel does in Watchmen, which is why Alan Moore would probably hate it, is because it is wish fulfillment. It is like you're an empowering story.
Yeah. The good guys do win at the end. Yeah.
Yes. So
they win in ways where it's not like 3 million people die.
Right.
Everyone lives that needs to live.
Just the white supremacists die.
Right. All the bad guys die.
All the bad guys die. Yeah, so where are we left at the end? Ozymandias is in jail. Lady True dead. Manhattan dead. Gone.
Or reborn in a bar.
Or maybe reborn. So let's talk about, this is one season. Lindelof did clearly plan this as a one and done. Now he said it's not like he wouldn't want to do another one. He just has no plans. He also mentioned that maybe they could do the anthology route and you hand it off to another showrunner to tell. But I don't know what story you could tell. Do you show another part of the country with different characters going through the how do you, like, Manhattan's dead? You can maybe do something about Night Owl. You can maybe address, does Angela have the powers?
Maybe there's a secret child we don't know about.
There may be more Ozymandias kids. You got to imagine some other pissed Vietnamese women also inseminated themselves, maybe, or she had more babies. So there may be.
I'm sure you could tell. So I personally don't want to see another season.
I don't know if I do.
I enjoyed the way this wrapped up.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could tell an anthology series, or I'm sure you could even continue the story here. I don't want to see either.
Yeah.
The reason being is this story wraps up pretty neatly. There's the spinning top at the end. If you do the anthology thing, they already kind of used all the interesting characters from Watchmen in this.
Except for Night Owl. He's still out there.
Is he that interesting?
No, he's
Batman.
He's
goody two shoes Batman.
He's a doofus Batman. He's really like a doofus goofball character. Like we said, now if Ozymandias is arrested and the world knows this was a hoax, maybe we could see how people react to that, how vigilantes react to this new world now that everyone knows that the squid was a fucking hoax from Ozymandias.
No,
that could be something.
Right.
And now that they know that, will the countries go back to nuclear war? Will they be like, oh, that was fucking bullshit, let's blow each other up again? Because that's what stopped us, and maybe the Cold War, like a Cold War II, that could be kind of interesting.
Well, the Cold War ended anyway. We never blew each other up.
That's true.
The thing is, that shit was written in 85 when there was a Cold War, but we lived past it knowing that nothing happened.
People did realize, I mean, you got to think, I remember
people came to their senses.
Gorbachev and Reagan, and I think it was Gorbachev who held back more.
So it didn't need a fucking crazy joke to fucking trick people into not nuking each other.
Well, that world did. That's a different, it's a fictional parallel universe.
Well,
Okay.
It's not a real world.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a commentary on the
It
world.
is a commentary on
Right.
fascism, on heroes, on masks, on power.
We learned that at least for the time being, stupidity didn't reign supreme.
Yeah.
We came to our
We
senses.
got lucky for now. Who knows what the future holds?
Sure.
God damn this!
I think that the genius of this is that it worked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
It there's nowhere to go but down.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, so that's why I don't want another season of it because it was so good. There's no fucking way. Like, in all the things that I even didn't like about it, I end up going, I see it. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like, I'm glad they did that. You know, like anything, even my worst criticism of stuff. Like, I'm glad that they did that at the end of the day because it was entertaining. I don't know if I would be able to keep giving out olive branches to stuff, especially if it wasn't as high caliber. Right? So let's say they kept taking liberties with this book that I really love. And it keeps, like, you know, going more and more along the lines of TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like TV, like stuff that you need to do to get people to come back every week. It's not like this, to me, at least seemed like a piece of art.
It absolutely was art.
Because it was this contained story.
Yes, it was.
So I'm 100% behind that idea of it. And I don't think it should be.
And a work of art doesn't need a sequel.
Leaving it in a question like that is great.
Yes.
It's poignant.
Yes.
It has it gives you more than if you gave it an ending.
Like you wouldn't go back to Inception and be like, "Oh, give me a sequel, show me what happened to the top." No, it doesn't matter. No. It is absolutely a work of art. One of the best shows I've watched this year and probably in a few years. It blew me away. I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I don't know. We can score it if
Are
you
you
want.
giving it a rating?
I don't know. We don't have to. Do you want to rate it? I can't. How are you going to rate it?
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Do I like it better than the graphic novel? No. But I do think that it is definitely, you have to watch this. It's must-see TV.
Yep.
It's must-see entertainment. It's art. And it's very well done. And even the stuff that I don't like about it is outweighed by how good it does what it does. So I was entertained. I had questions. They were answered. And I saw things in a different light. They created these two new heroes that I think are pretty badass. So
do you think it plays for people who are not familiar with the source material? Because I was talking to this dude at work. I had a conversation with him. He got into the show. He has not read the book. He has not seen the movie. He did admit he had to Google a couple of things.
Yeah,
but
that's what you do now.
But that's what you do.
Fucking Wikipedia it, and you don't have to read anything.
I Wikipedia'd it.
And he did, and he enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, then you've answered your question.
I did.
Right?
I guess it works.
I would say that, I said this earlier, but I think the show accomplished everything it needed to accomplish, right? So it got me to watch it week to week. It made me interested in the comic.
Yeah.
That's a plus. Lastly, it made me interested on what other things HBO produces.
Fuck
and now
yeah.
I'm like, I should go watch Chernobyl. Maybe HBO just has like a knack for creating awesome content that I'm just missing out on.
And not only that, both like Chernobyl, one amazing season, and that's all you need. Like Chernobyl clearly is not going to have another season. But Anthony, watch fucking Chernobyl. It is as compelling and deep and amazing as Watchmen. And I could not stop watching that show. It's another work of art, but really based in reality in a historical incident. It's fucking great. Better than Game of Thrones season 8. Any final thoughts? I think
Isn't there like Silicon Valley's on HBO too?
Silicon Valley is a great show. That also ended recently. It had a great series finale, perfectly.
They've had a great run this year.
They had a great 7 years, and it wrapped up.
No, I'm saying that 2019 for HBO.
Succession is one I got to get into.
Yeah,
everyone says it's amazing.
I watched the first episode, and I'm like, I want to watch.
Is that the one about the people vying for the corporate thing?
The company.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. My buddy's telling me about that
Kieran
too.
Culkin, Brian Cox. It's got Cox in it.
It's like Game of Thrones for
in the
corporate world.
Yeah,
in the boardroom. Yeah.
So, and that's another one. But HBO generally, I love. They've made some cool like short 3-episode documentary series of the true crime shit.
Was Westworld out this year too?
No, that's not coming back until
I can't wait to see if that's good or bad.
Next year. Yeah, that doesn't.
All I know is there'll be naked women in it. So
there's naked robot movies.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna do that anymore.
But HBO always fucking bringing it, man.
I saw it was like the debate online was HBO or Netflix who's producing better original.
They didn't really have to worry of Game of Thrones ending like we thought they were worried because they continue to stay in the public eye, continue to be the water cooler conversation.
But I mean, did this do as well as Game of Thrones?
No, not. It's.
I mean, I think that the Rotten Tomatoes score is weird. Right?
I mean, they're both based off of source materials, but Game of Thrones had more time.
What's the audience reaction to Watchmen?
To Watchmen? Let's find out. I never check for TV shows, but we probably
use
should. Watchmen season 1 on Rotten Tomatoes, 96% tomato meter, 8.53 out of 10. Critic side audience score, 51%.
Yeah, it's a lot lower. Yeah.
Why do they wonder why that is?
Because maybe people just don't get it.
Or maybe people are hardcore about the comic.
Or that.
I think the people that are fans of the comic are like, they probably didn't stick around enough to like it. I think the first episode could have been polarized.
Mandalorian 94% and Vikings 100%. I've never watched Vikings.
Vikings is good, but I never stuck with it because it's too many seasons.
Really?
I was like, how many fucking seasons of Vikings can I watch?
The Expanse also 100%, and then The Witcher's coming out on 20th.
I don't know about that. The Expanse, I found that to be very bad.
Yeah, people seem to like that. So, all right, good stuff. Let's.
Now, weren't you happy that I had all these contrarian thoughts?
I was very happy to argue with you about The Watchmen because both sides work.
I will say that we tend to get a little too agreeable on things, so it's nice to see a little bit of a debate.
And
I mean, like, what are we gonna do? Sit here and just suck the show's dick for like 2 hours? It's like that's not interesting.
My mom would love to do that.
I would.
Anything, any shows.
I will. No, but this one I will defend the shit out of this.
Yeah, this one he wants the big blue dick all up in his mouth.
I want that big blue dildo. Where can I buy that? Amazon?
Oh yeah, someone's ordering it for you right now.
Use our affiliate link jockandnerd.com/Amazon to get your big blue dildo. Apparently, all that shit was made by Dan Dryberg, Night Owl's company, who continued to make tech and stuff.
They made blue dildos?
They made blue dildos and sold blue dildos. That's a good way to capitalize on it. Yeah. All right. Good stuff, man. I was just dying to talk about this fucking show. I'm glad we got it out. Let's do a little bit of news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation.
I don't know why that makes me laugh. Still going.
He's not done yet. A little bit left. Oh, a little bit left in the chamber. Good. Okay, now we're good. This is the portion of the show, listener, where I pull things. Oh, sorry, he's not done. Give him a second. I shouldn't have had that bean for lunch. This is the portion of the show where I dive into our Facebook group, Jock and Nerd Nation. You should join because that's where all our awesome listeners hang out. We hang out. One of my favorite places on the internet that's not full of assholes. Everyone is cool, and you get your name read. You get your comment read on the air. For example, I'm glad Matthew Lawrence posted this because I wanted to talk about this movie. Matthew Lawrence asks, anyone see Six Underground yet? It's on Netflix. Anthony.
Oh, I saw it.
it. Anthony, have you heard about this movie?
I've heard about it. I saw like my cousin was playing it in the background, but I wasn't actually watching
Holy shit. So this movie stars Ryan Reynolds, written by the writers of Deadpool, Paul Wernick, Rhett Reese, and directed by Michael Bay.
Was there any hype to come? Was there any advertising for this to come out?
Actually, people at work got to go to a free premiere in the theater. So they actually bought, which is weird. They paid to have this movie premiere in the theater. Why? I don't know, because those people aren't going to go watch it on Netflix, hoping that they're going to tell their friends, watch this. So all their money for marketing went to these an actual theater premiere. But this movie is pretty much Netflix giving Michael Bay $150 million and saying, you make the Michael Bayest movie you can make.
And he did.
He does.
He really fucking did.
Oh my, just watch the first 15 minutes. It's an amazing action scene. Ruggs, what are your thoughts on this?
Let me just say, okay, this is the world's stupidest
Break
movie.
down what real quick what the plot is.
This movie is so dumb, it's beyond dumb.
Yeah.
But
yes.
It's about the easiest way to describe it. It's about it's like the A-Team.
Yeah,
they don't exist. No one knows who they are, and they want to overthrow this fucking evil fucking dictator.
Yeah,
by freeing his brother and starting a coup.
And Ryan Reynolds is kind of like a Bruce Wayne. He's a millionaire.
He's like a millionaire who has all this assets, and he's everybody's presumed dead.
Everyone fakes their death and become numbers, kind of like Reservoir Dogs. It's like a whole bunch of movies mashed together.
Yeah, it's the A-Team basically.
Yes,
and we've seen this before with the Expendables.
Yeah.
All the same.
It's him assembling this team. But holy shit, this is a great movie just to have on. You don't need to think about it. If you do, it's hilarious because a lot of things don't make sense.
I'll tell you what is this was what sets it apart from every other movie.
Yeah.
All right. So you've seen Michael Bay movies before.
Yeah.
You've seen like the beautiful like shots of the slow-mo helicopters on the horizon with the air that's like all like fucking bendy and shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Wavy with gas.
Yeah,
waves.
the wavy
Yeah.
air.
Yeah.
That's in this. Yeah. The fucking all of the fucking military porn that they have of all the fucking things.
There's super close-up shots and 100 edits every 2 seconds from different angles.
A million panning shots of upskirts of girls with long legs and tan fucking boobs.
There's the thing where cars run into like kiosks in Italy that are made out of wood and it just explodes for some reason and fireworks go off.
But what sets it apart from every other fucking Michael Bay movie is one thing.
What's that?
And one thing only is its fucking bodies. All right? When somebody gets hit, they use a dummy or a digital dummy, and that fucking guy goes flying.
Yes.
Like, you see people fly out of windshields, go under tires.
Yes.
Like, you're seeing fucking people getting exploded, faces explode.
Yes.
Like, this is all about, like, he's like, I'm gonna do gore and, like, in an action movie.
I've never seen so much disregard for human casualties in a
there's
movie.
just people
They're
getting
running
mowed
over
over.
movies. Anthony, I'm going to spoil some of this. There's a moment where he
hit that spoiler button.
Spoiler alert.
He shoves a flash grenade in this dude's mouth and it explodes his head. And he's like, that was just a flash grenade. I didn't think that would happen.
There's just so much stupidity in this movie.
There's a doctor character who just does doctory things in the beginning and never again does any kind of doctor stuff. And she's like the doctor of the team.
She doesn't really do much.
No, she doesn't.
There looks really hot.
So there's like a sniper, there's a spy, there's a parkour dude who's kind of cool.
He's like Spider-Man.
He's like Spider-Man. Ryan Reynolds plays one who's the tech guy. And apparently when you drop a phone, its SIM card just pops out at the most inopportune time for no reason. You got to shove it back in. There's a sharpshooter.
Oh, it's a terrible movie. It's beyond terrible. It's so stupid.
But it's fun.
The last, I don't know. I stuck with this movie. Okay, I just watched Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, I've yet to see that. Is that dumber than this, or not?
Oh, it's dumb. It's on another dumb on another.
I gotta watch that.
The action is less shaky cam.
There's so much fucking cuts.
The action is actually way better in a lot of ways.
In Hobbs and Shaw. Okay, I gotta check that out.
Like just cleaner. But like Hobbs and Shaw didn't hold on to me. About the middle of the movie, I was like, "Hey, this movie's stupid." They've made fun of each other for about a half hour. I'm over it now. Like, all right, let's just get to the end of the movie. This one, just kept on doing even dumber, ridiculous shit. That I'm like, are they doing this?
Yeah.
What are they doing? This is so stupid. This doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
I'm like, what the fuck is Michael Bay smoking? And
they just let him. They clearly let him do whatever he wanted. Here's some comments from the nation after Matthew Lawrence posted this. Daryl K says super dumb. Jamie Robinson, yep, waste of 2 hours. Jess Rivera made it about 5 minutes, then gave up. Matthew Lawrence, I liked it. Matthew, I also enjoyed it. It's great. It's just a fucking great, mindless.
It's not great
action movie.
It's just
don't hyperbole.
It's like when you drive past like an accident and you have to stop and look. It's a train wreck. It's what it is.
But for like
a fucking train wreck,
quote unquote free new movie on Netflix, it's fine. It's perfectly acceptable. They got Adam Sandler shit on there. Now they got Michael Bay shit on there. But wow, Michael Bay.
Like, I don't know if I could watch a lot of these. But it's terrible.
It's terrible fun. Like, it's so bad it's fun to watch. That's what I think.
Like, every single time you think he can't hit another person and make him go flying in the air.
He does.
He does. He just does. And every single time that you think that he can't put this girl in a sexier outfit. He does. He just figures out a way.
Some great ass in this movie. Some of the car stunts were pretty impressive, and it's your typical just fucking flying up in the air.
Well, there was a fucking lot of shaky cam.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
Here's like a convoluted.
The edits were like crazy. It was convoluted.
This is an example of the convoluted Michael Bay action. There's a moment where the parkour guy is shooting a grenade through a car passing in front of him to blow up the car. But then it cuts to inside the car. You see the grenade hit the driver in the face and like bust his jaw first. And then the car explodes. And I was like, was that necessary? Did we need to see the grenade hit him in the face? No, but it's so great. Anyways, look, if you're looking for a dumb movie to have on, would you watch this, Anthony?
You might have to watch.
Only if you guys made me watch it.
I'm going to make you watch it.
No, we already just reviewed it.
Yeah, it's the whole movie right there.
I might throw it on. I don't know. There's other things to watch.
I can't see Anthony making through the
That's
whole
like
movie.
if you have nothing else to watch, you could throw this on. I will.
Like, I feel like I'm a completist. I have to watch like every great, like ridiculous action movie.
Have you watched this one? I will recommend this. It reminded me of a better movie on Netflix, Triple Frontier, with Ben Affleck. I think Pedro Pascal is in that, and it's a guy. Ben Affleck is ex-military. He gets a bunch of guys to go into the jungle to rip off a drug cartel warlord, and then everything gets fucked up. It's a pretty good movie. I really like Triple Frontier. Ruggs, have you seen that?
Oh, okay, I'll check it. No, I'm not.
Yeah, it's a better Six Underground. That's for sure. It's not as Michael Bay. And then the other thing regarding about our members from News from the Nation, the badass Lisa Morrison, one of our favorite listeners, is having surgery. And
best of luck.
We want to wish you a full and speedy recovery, Lisa Morrison. Hopefully this
What kind of surgery do you know?
No, I don't know, but
is it the knee surgery?
Maybe she plays a lot of sports. She's a goalie, which is, you got to be a little bit crazy to be a goalie in sports. I mean, come on. So we hope you get well soon, and we hope this podcast can keep you company as you recover.
Yes. Enjoy the drugs.
Let us know. Yes. Send some drugs over. Email me some Percocets and let us know if there's anything we could do to cheer you up, make you feel better.
Yes.
You guys, we're up to 106 Apple Podcast ratings.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
I said this already, but I'm going to say it again. You're going to be around your family holidays. You're going to be sitting around. Get your family to do it. At the dinner table, just say, listen, can you do me one favor? I got one Christmas request. Go and give them a star.
If you're in the U.S. and your relatives have an iOS device, get them to pop open the Apple Podcast app. Search Jock and Nerd, light up those stars. Our goal is 200 ratings, and we're going to try to reapply to Rotten Tomatoes and be official, legit movie reviewers. I don't know. This is a pipe dream. This is a long-term dream, but it is a dream of mine to be considered for the tomato meter.
Listen, we got thousands of you listening. I know you guys don't all have iPhones, but come on, guys. Like we only ask millions.
And we only ask you for all your money and all your share of the geekery
and all your time.
But don't you want to see us succeed?
Yes. And if you don't have an iPhone, everyone around you has an iPhone. So just grab theirs when they're not looking, maybe when they go to the bathroom, like Ralph Bravo did, and light it up. Anthony, final thoughts for the week.
Final thoughts. Hey, have a happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Well, not Happy New Year. We'll be recording before that, but happy holidays,
Kwanzaa?
Happy Kwanzaa,
Happy Christmas,
Happy Hanukkah.
Kwanzaa.
Not that many people celebrate Kwanzaa, by the way.
What's going on in Muslim style?
We got nothing this year now.
Nothing? No Jesus?
Happy holidays.
Ramadan was months ago.
I hope you guys get everything you wanted for Christmas. I hope you didn't break the bank getting everything else for everyone else.
Ruggs, where can the listener find you?
You can find me on Twitter at ReallyRugBoy, so come by.
There'll be a link to his Twitter in our show notes, jockandnerd.com/307. Links to everything we talk about in the show, where to find the show, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify to Pandora, links to how to get in touch. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. We'll peep you next time.
You forgot the outro.
Yeah, people know who we are.
Okay.
I'm going with it.
Fuck that show.